Yep. There you go, brother. All A-OK.
Hey, okay.
Yeah. Everything's
Is
working.
the light all right? Is the light all right?
Oh, yeah. Perfect.
Okay, okay, right on. All right. Aloha, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's Hump Day, Wednesday. A lot of things going on. Lot of things going on today. I hope you guys enjoyed the show yesterday. Based on the number of views that Dr. Kim's interview had last night, a lot of people got educated. A lot of people got informed. That's what we want to do. So thank you all. If you haven't seen it, you can go to any of our pages or you can go to my YouTube channel, Mel Raposo. In fact, on my YouTube channel, there's every single episode is on there. So if you want to go back and watch an older one, feel free to go. Just go to youtube.com. In the search window, type in Mel Raposo and you'll see my channel pop up. Click on the channel. Please subscribe and click that little bell icon that's next to it. Then you get notified every time we put up a new video. So which is every night. No, I shouldn't say every night, but almost every night.
Yep.
Almost every night. So, but yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. We did. We had a blast. Dr. Kim is always a wonderful guest. He's so articulate. He's so intelligent, and he's right out of Honolulu, man. Iolani School graduate. So proud of that man, and I really appreciate what he and his team are doing in the vaccine world, especially now during COVID. So, yep, yep. That's the first thing. We're gonna right at about 7 o'clock. I know all of you guys that sent me the your names for the contest. I figured out the best way to do it is we'll start off the show. We'll randomize the names and pick the winner from last night. We'll pick it tonight. And then again tonight, guys and gals, send me your names in Messenger if you haven't already. Um, there we go, Val. Awesome. Yeah, if you haven't submitted your name, then go ahead and what is that you, Charlie?
Yes, it is.
I get worried every time I hear something or I see something because it's this internet just drive me nuts sometimes. But anyway, yeah, if you haven't, just message me your name and we'll add you to the list. But we're gonna be randomizing for last night's list. So everybody that signs up today will be put on the list, and we'll randomize that tomorrow night at the start of the show, right at 7 o'clock. And it's very simple. Oh, look at Patsy. She says, "Hi, Mel." um, yeah, and the winner, what you do is you email Kiala Wolf, who has been generous to donate all of the prizes, and we will you email them aloha at haumeahawaii.com, aloha at haumeahawaii.com, and she will get that prize to you ASAP. All right, all right. I see all the names popping up on my phone. So right on. So we'll right at 7 o'clock we'll go ahead and randomize last night's list. Awesome. Got a lot of
Well,
viewers from good stuff being going out. Kiala, yep. Thank you so much, Kiala. Appreciate you and your husband and your team making a lot of people happy this holiday season. So
yep.
I am working on getting a very special show that we want to have all you put your keiki in front of the computer or your TV or however you're watching this. And we want to have Santa show up and share with us a little bit of Christmas. Um,
Here.
yeah, we're working on that right now. So obviously we cannot go and sit on his lap and tell him what you want, but we can at least have him send out a Christmas message to all of our families, especially our keikis. So as soon as we get him, it's
Hmm.
a long trip, for him to come all the way from the North Pole, because the internet up at the North Pole is not that good. But he said
Well,
he'll come here to Hawaii, where we know we'll get a good connection.
let's hope he. Yeah, it will be fun to have Santa here, and I think because the last I heard, he had knee replacement, both knees, so that's why he cannot sit on his knees, or he
Yeah,
went up on the floor. Yep. Hmm.
but I heard it went well. I heard it went well, and we're trying to get an elf. We want
Yep.
an elf to come help him. So
Yep.
as long as Mike the Helig is available, we can get Mike the Helig to come and be Santa's elf.
No, the, To be an elf, it's not about the height. It's about the
I never,
thought. It's
I
it's
never,
about it's about the thought of giving, and it's the most important thing because I attempted, but I couldn't get into elf school. But you have to have pointed ears. So if you don't have pointed ears, you cannot.
Charlie, I never mentioned nothing about height.
But you know,
And you know me,
I get mental tilapia. I know what you was
yeah,
thinking.
yeah. I think you know me too well. You know me too well. But I think Mike would make an amazing elf, don't you think?
Well, I gotta tell you this. That son of a gun, he's a very accomplished violin player. I don't know if you heard
Oh,
recently.
him and Paul Togioka.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh,
unbelievable, unbelievable.
yeah, I heard him play at a chamber dinner years ago. The guy's amazing, and him
But,
and
but when he
Paul
plays with,
together.
yeah, when he plays with someone, it's
Oh,
even
jeez,
unbelievable. Yep.
it's hard to believe it's him.
Yeah.
It's very hard to believe it's him. But he's very talented, and we got to get him back on the show. He was an awesome guest as well.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Look, Angie says we better watch it. We're talking many hune. Oh, I tell you. Yeah, right on, right on. So today we got a lot of stuff to talk about tonight. We got a bunch of things. We got, of course, the vaccine is in, and one of our dear friends um, got the vaccine today. I asked her to be on the show. She's shy, but she did give me permission to read her experience, which I'll do that later on. We're going to talk about the governor's new proclamation that drops the mandatory quarantine from 14 days to 10 days. We have some discussion about that. And we lost a Kahuku football player, 43 years old, from
Football
Oahu.
coach.
Condolences go out to
Football coach. Yeah.
football coach, 43 years old, 43 years old, passed away from COVID on Oahu. You
Mhm.
know, we we see the numbers every day, and it's come to the point. And I know I've said this so many times, so many times. Oh, my computer just tipped. Hang on, I gotta fix this. Okay, gosh, it's not one thing; it's another. But when we started the wars back in the '90s in
It
the
was
Middle
an elf
East,
that did that. It was an
yeah, I
elf.
think the elf. Sorry, Mike. Um, we when we started the wars and then our soldiers started dying, and when the soldiers started dying, we remember we used to have their names and their pictures, and this country would stop to mourn. And then as it got more common, no longer were the names put out or the pictures. It was just, 6 more soldiers died today. 7 airmen died got shot down in a chopper. No, after that, it was just a number, and that's what COVID has become. You see it, 110 cases in the state, blah blah blah, and we lost 4 more. I think that that numbers um, of the ones that don't make it are more important than the numbers of positive cases. And I just think that it's so minimized now because it's been going on for so long, and we've lost so many people that we kind of don't think about it. And now, that coach, you think about it, right, Charlie? As a
Mhm.
coach, you're a family man. You have a family. He's only 43. His parents probably still alive. He has friends. All those kids that he coached
Yeah.
have families. That this guy was a community leader,
Hmm.
and yet we just count him as a number. 4 people, 3 people, 2 people, um, and I think that's really I don't think that's giving them the right respect. And I'm not saying you post their pictures and all of that. I think we as individuals really have to understand that this thing is real
Hmm.
and it's affecting a lot of people, not just the one that passes away, but all the extended family and the friends. And this is for real, man. This is for real. And so yeah, the vaccine is out, starting to get put out. I think Melissa Bolton, I'll read her comments and her experience today. But today's day one. Today's day one for her. and she's going to keep us posted. Follow her on Facebook, Melissa Bolton, and she'll be giving us daily updates
Mhm.
on what's how she's feeling. So
Well, I did want to say, when I posted that, Nani posted it first, so I just followed suit on that because I recognized the last name and got a good friend, last name Kahalikuna. So, I called to see if that was family because when I saw the age was so young. And you're right, Mel. I think what needs to be done is there's this, I don't want to call it an oddity, but there's something within us, and it's human nature. We want to find out what happened, right? And not to be insensitive, but many of us now who've been following this plight of ours here for nearly 10 months now, we're really following the science, and I'm very proud of all the viewers. They follow the science real well. So, example, when Dr. came on last night, our viewers was right there. There, I saw some really good questions popping up on the screen, and I took that and I said, wow, that I'm very very proud. So one of the questions I asked is, and I read about what happened to him, and he experienced a shortness of breath. Well, that doesn't happen to all COVID patients. That's one of the contributing factors, and that makes things hard. But there's some other things too, and I think that even though the vaccine is out, just getting tagged by this virus, whether, and something very, very important was said today by Dr. Peter Hostes from the Texas Children's Hospital. And he's an expert in tropical medicine, and he understands about these viruses. And he made mention that, it's sad in a way that we finally got the vaccine and we're very happy, but it didn't come until, and it's sad, but that's just how it is. But it didn't come until 300 people, 300,000 people gave their lives to this virus. And should it, could it, would have is only a speculation that one day maybe we'll get an answer if we could have had a vaccine earlier or not. We don't know, and not to judge anyone whether things are being done right or not. But it's you know today my heart ached because I said, man, but my brother, he passed away so young in the stage of this virus. There wasn't no vaccine back in March or April of the year. You know, so he would have completely missed that opportunity. But again, because we've been telling everyone what to do, how to be safe, we're hoping that that in itself can buy you time. Now, remember, folks, and I'm just as amazed as a lot of you are. I found out I didn't know that there was all these companies vying to provide vaccines. I really didn't know about the process of the EUA and what that meant. I didn't know all these review boards that's in place now to take a look that advises the FDA. I'm glad there's a lot of checks and balances going on right now, because just imagine if you didn't have these check and balances and they just threw the vaccine at us. But yet last night you said something that was very important now, and that is, and you and I talked about it, the messaging has to be spot on. The government needs to tell the people what this vaccine does, what it doesn't do, what effects you may have, what effects you may not have. They need to cover all of that. But right now, I understand we're just trying to get everyone vaccinated so we can slow this deadly virus down. I mean, the numbers is just it's just mind shattering. The numbers of infections and the number of deaths that's happening every day. It's really hard to fathom that thought. Really hard to
yeah,
fathom.
and the vaccine, as Dr. Kim said, is one part of it. I mean, we cannot be complacent, and that's my fear that the messaging is giving a lot of people false hope that this vaccine is the silver bullet. Well, it's not, and it's a part of the solution. But you heard Dr. Kim last night, and many other experts are saying this vaccine that we have right now, number one, is not approved by the FDA in the USA for sale, for consumption. It's for an emergency use only. They're doing everything they can. And I know a lot of people are saying it, we should have had it sooner. The bottom line is it wasn't just the United States, it was the whole world was on a race to, and we have experts and doctors and vaccine specialists all over the world were trying to do what they could as quick as they could to get this vaccine ready. This is record time for a vaccine. And so now we have a vaccine, but this vaccine, is that you, Charlie?
No,
Okay, yeah.
that's the neighbor's boxing. It's round one. They train blows now.
This vaccine is designed and was tested. And if you haven't watched last night's show, go watch it, please. It's on my YouTube channel or it's on Charlie's page, my page, and many of your pages. But it was our show last night. But this vaccine was tested and is being used to protect the person that's getting the vaccine. The fact that it will, the trials have shown that it will limit the damage that this virus does. So it won't make you as sick. You still may get sick, you just won't get as sick and hopefully not die. It doesn't prevent you from catching COVID. It doesn't wipe out COVID from your body. In fact, Dr. Kim was very clear last night when he said, you could have had the vaccine, you can still pick up the virus and you can still shed the virus. You can still pass it on. So this is really, and the trials that were done were specific to that. They didn't do trials or testing to see how much it protects others. That wasn't done. That's going to be forthcoming. But people need to understand that because you got the vaccine, doesn't mean you go out and you don't have to wear a mask and you can get coughed on by a COVID person and you're not going to get sick. No, not at all. So please, the messaging needs to be structured that way so that people understand this isn't the complete solution. This is part of it. We wouldn't have 300,000 deaths today if everybody wore a mask. If governors across the country had shut down and had quarantined people, we would have had 300,000 deaths. And I think that's the real story is, come on, a lot of places, a lot of governors wanted to just open everything up. And they did, and they paid the price. And they, not personally, but their communities did, and a lot of people died. So this vaccine isn't the one-stop shop for this virus, and people need to understand that. And so please watch the show. Please watch the show, and he does it in a way that everybody understands. You don't need to have a medical degree. In fact, all of the doctors, you look at Dara and Capono and Dr. Berman, all of our doctors that came on spoke at a level we could all understand, and we appreciate that. So anyway, let's go and do this, the random. Now remember, we are doing, what did I just do?
For last night.
Yeah, we are doing the last night's list. And Charlie, you're eating, Charlie.
I'm eating
I can hear it. I mean,
Snickers.
All right, so here's the list. We have everybody's list that submitted their names last night. Again, if you want to enter the contest for tonight, just message me your name and we will randomize it tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. So that's the list.
This is for tonight now.
This is for last night's.
Last night.
Yeah. So we're gonna roll the dice, anything 6 or above.
Yep.
We have an 11. So we're gonna random 11 times. That's 1. That's 2. That's 3. That's 4. That's 5. That's 6. That's 7. That's 8. Oops. That's 8. That's 9. That is 10, as you can see right here, 10 times. And the dice shows 11. So this is our winner. First place, the one in the number one spot will win tonight. Good luck, everybody. Glenda Crane. Glenda Crane, you are last night's winner. Glenda Crane, if you're on, email aloha at Hawaii, Haumea, Hawaii, Haumea, Hawaii.com. And Kiala will be sending you off your prize. Thank you so much, people. So again, tonight, message me your name. We'll get you on the list for tomorrow night. Look, we only had 30 last night. We'll get you guys on for tomorrow's list. And good luck, everybody. Congratulations, Glenda. Awesome. And thank you, Allah Wolf, again for making it happen. Awesome.
Oh, that's neat. That's neat. Very nice. So again, that's aloha at Haumea, Haumea, Hawaii.com. Aloha at Haumea, Hawaii.com for Glenda Crane. You are last night's winner. Your name was picked tonight. So anybody, if you want to get in on the fun, and it's Christmas is approaching. The beautiful Kiala Wolf has donated so many nice leather products and bags. And so these gifts, it's part of the, 8 days to Hanukkah?
I think it's 9 days
9 days
of Hanukkah, and we had the night with the glitch.
Mm-hmm.
So this is only the second one.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, this is only the third. This was the third one.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, the good thing about it, it's someone giving from their heart. And so if you would like to participate, private message or messenger to Mel, so your name can go into the randomizer. Now, for those that have already run, the past winners, unfortunately, you cannot enter again. We want to give everybody a chance.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are wanting to play, just enter your name. You can enter your mother's name. You want to enter your loved one's name, but just make sure that when we do randomize and pull the names, that you're available to get the message so you can contact Cal. Okay.
Ron Margolis corrected us. It's the seventh today. Tonight is the seventh night, but because we had the day off and because we had the glitch and because she has donated the 9 bags or the 9 gifts, I should say. No one knows what you're gonna get, but I know she has a lot of gorgeous leather stuff. Yes, Dad, you can enter too. My dad is asking from Washington. Yep, you sure can.
Yes, you
We want
can.
all of you to, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, just go ahead and send me in Messenger. Send me your name in Messenger. We'll get you on the list. And you have until the show gets off at 8. You have until 8:30 to email aloha at haumeahawaii.com. If you don't, we're assuming that you're not on the show, and then we will go to number 2. Okay, just to be fair, this is kind of like a way to keep you guys watching.
So if anyone tuned in, what you were referring to is the winner that was picked tonight has up to 8:30 to contact Homia, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, just in case anyone just tuned in and say, oh, what? Mel, we send our names to Aloha. No, we're talking about the winner that was picked tonight. That person has up to 8:30 tonight. And this was for the names that were entered last night. They have until 8:30 tonight to contact Keala Wolf at aloha at haumeahawaii.com.
And
Mel,
all of you tonight, and we'll repeat it throughout the night, but all of you tonight is brand new tomorrow night. Everybody gets back in, as long as I get your name, okay? As long as I get your name. Ron Margolis just texted. He said, all I want for Christmas is a bass player like Charlie Iona.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you very, very much. It's funny. Today I got 2 calls, and they asked me, "Oh, we want to use you to play some music for a little get together, like a small gathering. And when I started this whole flight, there was only one night that I missed our show, that I had to play at Kaleo Steak and Ribs, right? And I told you
Hmm.
I'm gonna take off. But after that, and I love music, but I think it's God's way of saying, you know, just take your time, take it easy. And it's not that I lost the love for music. It's just right now I just don't want to play. My importance is getting the message out to everybody. I know one day I'll go back. I mean, Mrs. Iona is going to get mad if I don't, because I spent a ton of money on my last bass I bought from Germany. And she said, "Hey, you got how many bases?" And you don't buy that kind of bases that's under $500. It's all way up. And it's just that it's like a ukulele. You want the best, you buy a kamak. So I went to Germany, and I got not went, but I went online, and I went to a clearinghouse in the stateside to get me a bass from Germany. And I paid a pretty mint. It sounds good. And I thank you, Ron. Hopefully one day I'll get the after the love and feeling back to go. But right
Well,
now I am
you will
singing
be
to sleep.
you will be playing at the concert, man. You will be playing at that concert, Charlie. When this is all over, man, all over.
I am.
Absolutely, boy. You're gonna be the MC, and you're gonna be a performer, and Ron Margolis will be a performer. It's gonna be solid, man. It's gonna be solid.
Yeah, we're gonna have fun.
Yeah, we're
So
gonna have some fun. Anyway, also today, and someone just reminded me, we had a positive case at Color Hill School, and the only reason I'm bringing it up is because it's all over Facebook, and I'm getting a lot of questions about it. And one of the parents actually sent me the letter, the letter that they got. And Charlie, the only thing I'm going to say about that, and this parent was quite upset because all the letter says it's a student at Color Hill School. It doesn't give a grade. It doesn't give what classrooms, and like we know that the state Department of Health will take care of the contact tracing, and they will reach out to the students that had come in contact with the positive student. But how do you get that information? How do you get that information as a parent when your kid, depending on how old he is or she is, if they test positive, does that child remember every single other student that they came in contact with? Versus the school coming out and saying, "We regret to inform you that today one of our fourth grade students was exposed and tested positive." Because now, as a parent, if I have a child that's in the fourth grade,
mm,
it's up to me what I want to do. It would be up to me. It would be, hey, I want to keep my kid home, until we know that it's safe. And that to me is what is lacking. Charlie, we've been talking about this for 9 months, 8 months, whatever it is. That when you have a bus driver on Oahu get COVID, they tell you what bus they were on, what route number. They didn't give the name. They just said on these routes. And I think at the school, I think that the parents deserve to know what at least what grade, and where was the exposures? Did it happen at the cafeteria? Did it happen on the field? So anyway, I'm not going to get into the specifics of this case. All we know, and again, it's out in the open on Facebook, that it was a Kalaheo school student on Kauai, not Honolulu, because we have a Kalaheo on Oahu as well. But this was on Kauai, and it was a parent. I mean, it was a student, but none of the parents know, except I would guess the ones that did come in contact with the child that were notified. But everyone else has no idea what grade and anything like that. And I think that needs to change. I think that the DOH through the schools need to let the parents know it was a fourth grader. That's all. You ain't going to identify the person. There is no HIPAA violation for that. We go back to the shark attack, right? When a shark attacks, or when there's a shark attack at a beach, you tell the people where, so the people, and then they make a choice. You want to go in the water? It's up to you. If I'm a parent and I get that letter, I'm a little upset because you told me that someone in that school you told me that a student was infected, and you don't want to tell me what grade, and now I gotta take your word that that fourth grade, third grade, second grade, first grader told them that they didn't come in contact with my kid. How would they know? How would that child remember every single contact they had at the school? So anyway, I just wanted to bring that up, Charlie, because it's something that we've been talking about, and not just at the school. In general, like in South Korea, like in many other places, the public is made aware of, they're given a little more information than what we've been getting.
Well, we've had 10 plus months of this, and I would think by now we could refine the systems we have in place to make it more palatable for everyone involved. Because if it's funny, we're asking everyone to participate in help curbing this virus, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're asking everybody. I mean, you're pretty much demanding, you're putting out rules there, everything. And yet, when something happens, that same rules that applied then doesn't apply to this situation now. And that's what everybody's getting frustrated about. I can see it, I can feel it, I can read the comments. So what they need to do is, if we're going to have rules in place with messaging as far as wearing the mask, we have these mandates in place, blah, 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 then that also should apply that when there is a case generated, okay, for the safety of all, because I sure would hate that we've been following the masking protocol. You have a student who may be infected that may have given it to another student who followed the masking protocol, then someone's going to question, hey, is masking working or not? We don't know unless you know who the players are. And then that way you can get a definitive, you can define it. And that's why I said after 10 months, there should be some type of redefining of the policies that are in place now.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Well, this whole again, it goes to the top, to the governor's office, the state level.
Yes.
You know, the state needs to have a standardized protocol for all schools on all islands. The state should have a standardized protocol for travel on all islands, and then let the individual counties deal with the tweaks that for their specific situation. For example, a school,
Hmm.
there should be standardized protocol. Now, right now, every school complex has its own, they do what they feel is right. In a case like this, uh, there should be a protocol where, will the school close down for a period of time? Will certain areas close down? And we know that that is in place. But as far as the child, I was told today that there were kids that were in A plus that they couldn't reach the parents. What do you do in that case? Well, it's up to the school
Hmm.
because there's no statewide protocol. So your statewide protocol would have the actions to be taken when a child is determined to be positive. But each school is different. Just the layout of the schools are different. The sizes are different. They're different. Some schools have gyms, some don't. Then the school will determine the plan of action once that trigger is reached. So maybe if the school has a gym and the exposure is made, they're going to isolate the kids with proper distancing in the gym because this school has a gym until the parents come pick them up. If there's no gym, my point is this: the state should come out with a standardized procedure that is general across the board, every school. Because you remember, we have parents, we have families that you have a child in one school, in one different school from the other child, depending on age, depending on many circumstances.
Exactly.
So, but the protocols are different across the board. Every single school is different, and that is what needs to change. It has to be standardized,
You
and then
know,
the school will address the situation the specific situations at their school. That needs to happen.
today I was called early this morning by a good friend from one of the larger hotels in Hawaii on Oahu. And the question that was posed, and it was a, I mean, I said, wow, that's, yeah. The question was posed is, Charlie, is there anything that you know of or have participated in where because of certain mandates, both on the state and county levels about gatherings, right? Should there be a natural disaster, whether it be a hurricane, whether it be a brush fire, whether it be an earthquake, where a mass evacuation had to take place, do you have a protocol right now? Because right now, prior to COVID, we know all the different low-lying spots that would be considered inundation areas, right? So then if a tsunami came, we move, whether it be residents or guests of the island, we move them to higher ground at certain places, like Waimea, Waimea School, uh, Kalaheo or Koloa School, take them out of the Poipu area, those kind of things. But because of COVID, we're going to have a lot of people and we got to keep our social distance. But yet no plan has been written to address that. And I said, you know what? As far as I know, I haven't heard anything yet. And I think what it is because there's a lot of rumblings, and Kiala was posting this. The activity on the Big Island is a prime example. The quakes
Hmm.
and everything that's happening. The frequency is coming more and more frequent. And so I think the question was posed in case we have to get an evacuation, where do you go where you put a group, a larger group than norm to an evacuated area that will comply with the gathering, weather. And my only comment was, I think they would have to suspend that to accommodate as long as they can keep it safe. If we say 50 people, well, we know we'll get more than 50 people. You're going to have to suspend that rule and say, as long as you can keep them socially distanced, you can probably put more or something to that effect.
Yeah.
So I told the person, I don't know of any rule right now, but that's a good point. That's a good point.
Well, when we had the hurricane scare, remember when the hurricane, we had the
Mhm.
hurricane warning coming up. That was a lot of the disco. What we're gonna do with all the tourists? What we're gonna do with all these people? How are you gonna get them in a hurricane shelter and keep the distance? So I mean, you basically got to take them up to the parks, up in higher ground parks, and just say, hey, we'll get you a little mat and we'll sit on the grass. I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do, but again, and that's a good example because in a hurricane, we know that when the watch comes and you got to start evacuating people, the state that's standard. That's the state policy, right? That's the state procedure. You're going to evacuate people to shelters, but it's the counties that determine what's going to be the shelters, where the shelters located. Shelter management is all done by the county, and that is what I'm talking about. That the schools, every island is different, every school is different. So as far as the unique situations for the school, yeah, that's done by the schools or the complex.
Mhm.
But the overarching governance got to be the state. That's just it's I don't get it, and they don't. So anyway, very
You know,
very frustrating.
I did want to say something on a happier note. Okay. And I think tonight we're gonna go happy, sad, happy, sad, happy, sad, and hope we can end on a happy note. And I'm over here doing my happy dance, my TikTok. Anyway, I got a message, and I think you did too, from our brother over at Uncle's Kitchen, Manny Cabral, and he
Hmm.
posted two beautiful pictures of the gifts that you, Patsy, gave, and what Stephanie and I gave, because we made a promise for the giving tree, right? For all the
Hmm.
cases that come in. And he showed us the tree with all the gifts. And I tell you, I had tears. I had tears. It
Yeah.
was just, you know, even though they only open Friday nights for dinner, Saturday and Sunday, breakfast and lunch, all day breakfast, they call it, on both days. Right now we're going through some trying times. And for those families, I beg you, if you want a good meal and just get your child to smile a little bit more, take them to Uncle's Kitchen in Hanapepe, because there's a lot of gifts, no questions asked. Your child can walk up to the tree and take whatever gifts they want. They can take one gift. You got everything from dolls to games to, I mean,
Mhm.
a whole bunch of stuff. I was so happy to see that. Also,
Yeah, that was awesome. That was awesome. And you know, it's as you can do that. You can go down to uncle's and drop off gift, drop off some monies for him to buy the gifts. He also pays it forward. You know, he provides free meals for those in need. So, yeah, Manny Cabral and his wife, amazing job. And I'm glad we had him on the show. This Friday, we're going to have Feel Good Friday. We have Mark's Place and Deja Vu. And they'll be on to share, you know, again, the challenges and what they're doing to keep their employees at work. And it'll be a fun Friday for sure with Mark Oyama and Deja Vu. It's going to be fun. It is going to be fun.
yeah,
So Friday is going to be powerful.
yeah,
Yeah. So the next topic, real quick, is the quarantine. The governor shortened the quarantine from 14 days to 10 days. There's a lot of it came out late in the afternoon. We knew it was coming. This governor, one thing, man, he likes to keep people guessing. You know, he likes to keep people guessing. We're still waiting for the request for the second test. Other mayors are still waiting for their request to be approved by the governor. It's been weeks, and they're very frustrated because when the governor made that rule that he had to approve of every single change that the counties wanted to do, he assured them they would be done in 24 hours. Well, that he definitely is breached that agreement. So today he made it official, and there was some, you know, a friend of mine got into a little debate on Facebook about that it was, you know, I question the reasoning, the rationale, because you know, from 14 days to 10 days is not going to impact the visitor industry that much. I mean, if you can come for 10, you can come for 14, whatever. They disagree. That's cool. We'll see the numbers. But the 14 day to 10 day creates an issue for exposures because now you're cutting the quarantine short. And in fact, Kauai today had its first case that the symptoms came up and the diagnosis came up after 10 days. In other words, this thing, the 10-day quarantine would not have worked in this case because he would have been able to go out. We caught him after the 10 days. So it's just proof that the 10 days, the latency period, that period of infection before we see symptoms can be quite long. And so this, my friend and I got into, he says, Mel, you never mentioned in your post that the CDC recommends that. Well, recommends it. Well, the CDC recommends it, but not entirely. So, um, and let me get this. No, seriously, man. I mean, you know, he said, no, you forgot to put this part. And what he was, this is from the CDC right here. And they talk about the options to reduce quarantine. Now, this is the part that I think is critical. The CDC currently recommends a quarantine period of 14 days. That's their recommendation. That's their recommendation. However, based on local circumstances and resources, the following options to shorten quarantine are acceptable alternatives. Quarantine can end after day 10 without testing and if no symptoms have been reported during daily monitoring. With this strategy, residual post-quarantine transmission risk is estimated to be about 1% with an upper limit of about 10%. Okay. Worst case scenario, 10%. That's high. This is my point. CDC recommends 14 days. That's their recommendation. They're saying if local circumstances and resources require to shrink that, then they say it's okay. My question is, what's the local circumstance and resources that allow us to reduce the quarantine from 14 to 10 days? I haven't heard the governor say why, other than tourism. So this is a big problem for me. The CDC is not recommending dropping it from 14 to 10. No, they're still recommending 14 days. And remember, none of this is pertaining to travel. The CDC came out with this recommendation based on exposures, not travel. So you know, when you read these things, you got to take the whole thing. You cannot just take the line you like. This is what my friend posted. He said, "No, this is what the CDC recommended." Yes, but you forgot the most important part. This is what he posted. Yes, that's what CDC said, but you forgot this part. And you forgot this part. This is the most important part. This is in the summary. Reducing the length of quarantine will reduce the burden and may increase community compliance. Okay. Is that what we're concerned about? Community compliance? Or are we concerned about health and safety? This document lays out evidence to support two options to shorten quarantine. Shortening quarantine may increase willingness to adhere to public health recommendations, but will require evaluation, not only in terms of compliance with quarantine and contact tracing, but also for any potential negative impacts such as post quarantine transmission, which is what we saw today on Kauai. Now, when the governor and the lieutenant governor talks about, and Dr. DeWolf talks about how successful this program is, this safe travels, you notice that they leave out Kauai. They talk about the Big Island and Maui and Oahu. They don't talk about Kauai's numbers because Kauai's numbers disprove that theory. Any option to shorten quarantine risks being less effective than the currently recommended 14 days. Again, they're emphasizing that their current recommendation is 14 days. The variability of SARS-CoV-2 transmission observed to date indicates that while a shorter quarantine substantially reduces secondary transmission risk, there may be settings, for example, with high contact rates, where even a small risk of post-quarantine transmission could still result in substantial secondary clusters. Okay, that's what the CDC said. The CDC did not only say quarantine can end after day 10 without testing, blah, 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 and your transmission risk can be about 1% with an upper limit. No, they didn't only say that. They made it very clear that their recommendation is 14 days. But if you, in your local situation, feel that you want to go down to 10, you got to make sure you have the follow-ups. You got to make sure you have the contact tracing, which we don't in this state. So I just wanted to share that just to make it clear that, you know, when you read the CDC, when you're going to quote the CDC, you make sure you quote the entire paper, not just the part you like read. It's very clear that the CDC's recommendation is 14 days. And we just said, we're going to take the part of the CDC's recommendation, and that's what we're going to tell the public. We're not going to tell the public everything. And I know our viewers are very akamai. Our viewers, you know, they follow, they go read on themselves. So right now we are at 10 days. Still no test required now for Kauai. You cannot take a test and get out of quarantine. So people are going to come without taking a test. That's not the bad part of this. Because now you come to Kauai, see all the other islands, you still got to get that negative test. Kauai, you can come in 10 days, you're out. And that's going to be dangerous. I tell you, just mark my word, it's going to be dangerous.
Well, you know, something that's, I mean, you can see it for what it is, and that is before we opted out, right? Kauai, under the old plan, before they opted out, you notice the numbers are rising. Yeah, the numbers were going up.
Mm-hmm.
The moment that opt-out plan was saying, hey, no ifs, ands, or buts, boom, quarantine. I know it angered a lot of people. Today we had a case, but the numbers are not climbing anywhere near what it was before. So what that's saying is this opt-out is probably working the best that it can, and that is strangleholding this you know, who's ever carrying the virus. Now you're going to get that few. I mean, and I'm glad, you know, if you had to let one through, okay, one got through, but not five. Like the last one we had close to five. And so, you know, it begs to reason, why certain things are in place. Now, I did see some favorable comments to our mayor, and I did see some unfavorable comments to our mayor. And again, everyone has the right to their own opinion. But I think with the minds that are assembled in that round circle in Lihui, that round building, with the help of Dr. Berman and uh, Kauai Emergency Management and everybody involved, it it pains anybody to take a real hard stance because they know what it's going to do, but yet they're looking for the overall safety of all, not just for a few. And I used to always think that way. I said, you know what? I'll back you up 100%. But if what you're asking me is only going to benefit a few and not all, I'm not going to back you up. It has to benefit everyone. It has to be inclusive.
Yeah.
So,
Well, the mayor was caught between a rock and a hard place, and
oh yeah,
we have publicly supported the mayor's action because he had no choice.
yeah,
And I know a lot of people. I mean, I read the comments every day. A lot of people still think that this action is going to wipe out the. We like the mayor said, it was going to come with some consequences. But when you faithfully tried your best, when you went and asked the governor twice to be able to test your visitors a second test after a 3-day quarantine, not even 4-day. He was asking for a very minimal 3-day, and he got rejected, and he got rejected again. And I don't think the mayor had another choice. Yes, and it did. It came with some mean backlash, and yes, hotels closed down. But would you rather have an island full of clusters where now you're going to be beyond the lockdown? You're going to be on a shutdown. It's terrible. And now the mayor just cut the legs right under the mayor again now by shrinking knowing that Kauai doesn't have a testing requirement to test because it was everybody, the safe travels wasn't applicable anymore. And now we made it even more dangerous for Kauai. And the governor should have left the Kauai at the 14 days. When you opt out, you opt out. So we'll see how this pans out. But I did want to share one
yeah.
more thing because you mentioned the round building. Well, today, and hey, I'm gonna apologize up front if I offend anybody, because I think what I have to say gonna offend some of you. I went past on Rice Street today, and I saw the protesters out again. Now, we have discussed this before, and they were protesting the vaccine. They were all bunched up together. There was absolutely zero social distancing. Um, Definitely not one of them had a mask. No masks, no social distancing. And, unfortunately, I was driving and traffic was moving and there was a lot of traffic. So I couldn't reach to grab my phone to take a picture, but I wanted to do a live shot really because you see, we talked about respect. We talked about aloha. We talked about playing by the rules. We talked about go ahead and protest if you want, but social distance and wear a mask. Now, I look at this as a, a there it's total disrespect, total lack of aloha. And it's a calculated activity. It's a calculated activity. These guys don't just happen to show up. No, they plan this out and they plan to do it. And I think that they're waiting for the officers to go and arrest them or cite them. And I don't believe anybody was cited or arrested. I didn't hang out. Obviously, I was working and I was en route to a case. But I cannot believe that after all what's going on, that these individuals would go out and have the audacity. And if any of you are, and I don't know the names. I honestly didn't know any of them. I did not know any of them. But if you're on this show, if you're unfriend me, please, because when I find out who you are, I'm gonna block you. You got no, absolutely, you're not welcomed here on this show. You're not welcome as a friend on my page. Selfish is an understatement. And I am so pissed off about this because this is not the first time. You are doing this every week or sometimes twice a week, but the intent is to not follow the rules. The vaccine isn't mandatory. So what the hell are you holding a sign about no vaccines? You have the right to not take the vaccine. You have the right to take it if you want. It's not mandatory. Wear your damn mask and hold your sign. I'm perfectly okay with that. But when you're out there and you bunched up together, absolutely no social distancing, in the public, in the open, you know you're pissing everybody off. But to do that is clear that you have absolutely no aloha, and you have no respect. So yeah, if you're on here, or if you guys know who they are, hey, message me. I'm not gonna release you. Message me so I can block them. I don't want nothing to do with them. I don't. I honestly have absolutely no aloha for those guys and gals because they are out there trying to instigate and divide, and that is wrong. But more importantly, they're practicing a dangerous behavior that could injure or kill someone. So I don't give a damn about rights. You have the right to protest, but you also have a right, or we have a right, that for you to keep us safe. So wear your damn mask, social distance, and walk up and down Rice Street all day long. You have my blessing. Sorry for that rant. I am just so over these people. And I wish KPD would go there and just arrest every single one of them. And I wish that the judge would fine every single one of them $5,000 and put their pictures all in the paper, all in the newspaper, front page. These are the jackasses that don't care about you. That's okay. I'm done. Thanks, Charles. Thank you. Okay, what's next?
Well, I mean, you gotta say what you gotta say. If it was me, the only thing I would say is there is a reason why cockfighting is illegal. You cannot let one house get cockfighting and arrest the other house to get cockfighting and pick and choose. And that's what's happening. It's very hard to ask anyone to comply if there's no standard set. If you don't do it from the start, you're not gonna be able to touch. And the sad thing is, yeah, you're right. These people will continually push the envelope and see how far they can go. And who knows? I don't wish this upon anybody, not even my worst enemies. But should they get sick, they get sick. What can you do?
I just, Hawaii is a very welcoming place. And my dad is on here watching. One thing my dad always taught me was respect. My dad lives in Seattle, but he's from Kauai. He's a local boy, and my mom and my dad, both of them taught us, and my grandparents taught us respect. That whether you respect not just the people, but you respect the place. My dad went to Seattle. He never go try change Seattle. No, he adapted. And I love my dad, and I'm proud of my dad. And I'm so thankful that my parents and my grandparents instilled that kind of respect in me. Because I could have very easily just flipped the bird, just flip that bird to all of those guys. But that's what that gonna do? Gonna make me more angry, right? So I'm just, I don't know how to get it to their heads. You can effectively protest. Just gotta follow the rules, man. And tomorrow I'm gonna talk to the chief and find out, what can we do? What can we do to make sure these guys don't? Because see, they're inciting the local people here. And I'm afraid that, somebody's just going to have had enough. Somebody's going to lose a relative or a friend, and they're just going to, and something bad going to happen. We cannot let that happen. They're obviously violating the law, obviously violating the law.
Well, I
And
think what they
right
got to
in front of
do,
the county building.
what they got to do. I mean, and I'll say this: the police department just has to do something because there's two sides to everything, right? You got the protesters that are not following the law, and yet you got this side that should be enforcing the law. And then we got to find out why aren't they enforcing the law? And if they give you a reasonable answer to, well, what they're doing is not a law, then why even put in a mandate for masking and all of that in and public gatherings? See, on Maui, how it was before, if you're going to do something like that, you got to go apply for a permit
Hmm.
for gather. I don't think anybody applied for a permit over here.
I don't know if they have the numbers because I know you got to have a certain number of people
Yeah,
to.
but
So
during
this,
this pandemic,
yeah,
the because he shrunk down those numbers. That is the numbers. If you're going above that, so I think outside is 25, right?
yeah,
Indoors
yeah,
is 10. You get more than 25, you should go apply for a permit.
yeah. Well, they didn't, to their credit, they didn't have 25. But
Mm.
Charlie, the law is the law, buddy. You know this. I mean, we
Yeah.
went through this. You gave me a great example, Charlie, about during union strikes and picketing. They have every right to do that. But the moment that they
But
fail the law, they violate the law, and they block ingress or egress, they get arrested.
yeah.
I don't give a damn. It's a union strike. I don't care if it's a pandemic. I don't care if I can even support your cause, but if you're not following the law, I cannot support you. I cannot support you, regardless. And I'm not talking about vaccines or masks or whatever. I don't care what the issue is.
Hmm.
You want to go protest, you damn well follow the law because your actions are creating a risk for others. And that is a violation of my civil rights now. See, when your rights cross over to violating my rights, then it's no longer okay. Sorry. I'm
Yes.
sorry.
Well, I remember so many times you explain the rules to the picketers. It says, hey, you have a lawful picket. Everything is done by the books. But when I ask you to break and you fail to break, and yet, there was one point where as long as their feet was moving and it was going in a forward motion and you told them to break, you had to let them complete.
Hmm.
And even though it took 20 minutes to get to the cars, they got to get to the other side safely before I let you through. I mean, and that was the game they played. It was like a cat and mouse game, but nevertheless, nobody got arrested.
Hmm.
Nobody unless, and usually the ones getting arrested would be uh, the guys driving vehicles who wanted to break through the picket lines. When we tell them, "Oh, you got to hold up," and they would just get annoyed and just go for it, and that's a weapon. And I remember, we didn't want to do it, but we protect on both sides,
Hmm.
both sides of the
That's right.
issue. So these people, I think, the point that you bring up is very, very very worthwhile in investigating. Why aren't you have a blatant um, disregard for mandates, because one of it was the mask, and you remember we went through that whole problem with the numbers of 6 feet, right?
Hmm.
Then I understand that the mask mandate got changed a little bit, but basically Kauai has been, you out in the public, you got to have masks on. Well,
That's it.
if they don't have masks and you don't want to arrest, then sign them. Sign them.
Yes. Yes. I mean, this is the deal, sir, ma'am. Put on your mask. You get one warning. Put on your mask. I don't have to wear a mask. Here's your ticket. Now put on your mask or leave. I don't have to. Now you're under arrest. That's how you do them, Charlie. And
Hmm.
you do that for every single one of them. And if they come back, you do it again, and you do it again, and you do it again. I hate to waste our officers' time on that, but this is wrong. This is just wrong from start to end. And yeah, I'm gonna find out why nothing is being done. And It's not fair to all of those people that got a citation or got arrested, local people, for violating the governor's rule. Every single one of them from day one that got cited or arrested for either having a big party, for congregating, for violating the law, for violating quarantine,
Mhm.
all of our local people. It's not fair to them. When they drive past Rice Street and you see these clowns out there every week, and they're just allowed to do it. I don't think it's fair, and I think we need to do something. And I will find out. Anyway, James Shado, our friend, he was a guest once. Remember? He said, Mel, would be curious to hear your thoughts about how our mayor's, which is Honolulu, ridiculous proposal to remove prison and jail inmates from Oahu's COVID numbers. Last time I checked, the only way prisoners can get COVID is through the ACOs who work at the prisons. I think the numbers should be included. As I said yesterday, James, the I was a white collar detective for many years with KPD. I investigated fraud, embezzlements, all of that stuff. This is a classic example of cooking the books because the mayor has a goal of getting to the tier, the better tier, the more free tier. Um, he wants to get to that number. He cannot if the prison numbers are high. So he just says we're not going to count the jail numbers. I agree with you. They need to count them all for the exact reason you said that it's not just prisoners. It's ACOs going in and out, and the virus did not start in the jail without an outside source. So anyway, I agree with you. We've mentioned it. We actually talked about that quite a bit in the last week since he came up with that brilliant plan. But it's just more nonsense to get to the objective that he wants, not necessarily in the safety of the public. He just wants to go. He's January is he's done. He's gone. He's no longer the mayor. He wants to leave on at least a positive note of maybe saying he was able to get to a better tier, but it ain't going to happen, even if you take out the jail numbers. And I'm afraid that those numbers are going to increase as we get through the holidays.
I would like to comment real briefly on I read his comment about the ACOs. Probably, it's tough when you have a new director for public safety. In order to be successful on the ingress and egress of bodies, especially ACOs going in and out, you're gonna have to have some kind of rapid testing at the facility. That's the only way, unless um, you know, when you comment that the ACOs are not following the rules. The only rules that I think that would be broken is if an ACO was sick and decided to come to work. But I don't think that's the case. In fact, my gut feeling is telling me because they ran the story that a whole bunch of prisoners came back from Arizona. Arizona had a really big outbreak, and they came back, and the holding facility was Halava. So when that happened, I remember that there was a flight for exchange of prisoners that's supposed to go out, and they canceled that flight. So I really suspect, the prisoners may have brought it back from Arizona. That's what my take on it is, and I can be totally off base, but uh, that's the sounds of it. So now, what do you do? And I think the template or the model is O Triple C. What happened to O Triple C? Unfortunately, you had all these guards that got sick. You had all these prisoners got sick until it was realized that you had to separate those who were just recently transferred, put them in quarantine, and keep them isolated, and don't put them in general population. Well, it sounds to me that there could have been some kind of mixing going on. But when you're at Halava High Max, I cannot see having one mix like they do down in O Triple C. I mean, I've been inside before working cases when I was at the medical examiner's office, and I seen the cell structure. But I am, I guess it's possible to do a mix. And so, in any sense, if you got something that's an outbreak in institution, okay, I would think, and this is just Uncle Charlie's 2 cents, you confine everything in an institution. You can control it a lot better. You don't let it get out on the streets. Unfortunately, you got guards that gotta go home. Okay.
Mhm.
But as far as the prisoners is concerned, and if they're the ones infected, you got them controlled. It ain't going nowhere. unless you got one that his term is coming up, you're going to have him released. I would think you should have him checked a week prior to being discharged, 3 days to discharge, test them again. And on the day of discharge, test them one more time, making absolutely sure that person is not carrying the virus out into the general public. That's what I would do.
You would think after OCCC they would have had everything in line and in place, but they didn't. Whether it's a new director, old director, at the bottom line, and they say, oh, you cannot force one prisoner to take a test. You ever seen what they do to prisoners when they check? They check their butts.
Mhm.
Come on, man. Who you think you're fooling? You can't. We're not talking about an invasive test. We're not talking about taking blood. We're not talking about poking you with a needle. We're talking about either spitting in a jar or swabbing your nostril. We're not talking about an invasive procedure. So I
Yeah.
don't buy that crap. Oh, we cannot force it. Listen, that is why you get what you get at Halaba, because you guys don't do what needs to be done. After OCCC, that whole book should have been rewritten. There should have been never have an occasion where a new prisoner is mixed with an old prisoner. Never. I'm sorry. You come on. And now look, it's too late. And see, that's the problem with this virus, though, Charlie.
Mhm.
Problem with this virus is that contagious. It's that contagious. And
Yep.
and back to James' position. Jamie's position is that number should be counted with the city and county of Honolulu. Remember when we had the cluster at the hospital on the Big Island where a lot of them died? Well, you say, oh, because it's a hospital, we're not going to count them because they're in a facility. What's the difference? The prisoners are human. They're human. They're people, just like the veterans that were at that facility. So you treat them as such. You don't say, no, that's too much. We're not going to count them because it's going to affect our journey to tier 3 or whatever the hell it is. So anyway, I hope I answered your question, Jamie. That's crap. I think that's just ridiculous.
The only
Uh,
time you don't count them is if you determine they get the virus, but they're actually Martians from Area 51. That's the only
yeah,
time.
well, that's the only time, Charlie. Hey, I did say I was gonna share a little story from Melissa. Hey, guys, go to Melissa's page. She'll be updating everybody on her date. She got the vaccine today. She's a nurse. She's one of our heroes. Our heroes on the front line. She's been on our show every night, I think, and we love her dearly, and all of our frontline workers. But she had her vaccine today, and she has a video. She said I could share it, but I don't have the ability right now because I didn't set it up. But she go check it out. And this was right after the shot. She said, I feel great right now. Let's see you later. But we had to sit here for 30 minutes after for them to monitor us. She said, the only thing I felt after 1 hour was a warm flush from the top of my head that felt like it was scanning my body, moving through my body, this warm flush to my feet. Then it went away. It was almost like the vaccine was shielding my body from head to toe. It was such a surreal experience. I took my temperature and it's 97.5. I'm taking my temperature every hour and documenting it. She says I can share it. I got to watch. I mean, I got to set up the video. I wish I had set it up. She said it was very emotional for me because all I thought about is all the people that passed that didn't get this chance. I was tearing while I was getting the shot. I'm still very sort of sad because I wish I could turn back the hands of time so we could reclaim and bring back all the deaths to be alive and well again with this extra layer of protection to fight this virus. What makes me sad is the ones that are saying this vaccine has chips and 5G crap. The very ones that party and will need this vaccine, they will just get it. It's very sad. They just don't get it. It's very sad. I think everyone in that vaccine clinic was so emotional. I saw the doctors tearing up, nurses crying in happiness. It was so intense. Thank you, Melissa. Thank you for sharing that. And
You
I think
know,
that's what people got to realize is that we lost a lot of people, and we're trying to do our best. So, Melissa, we love you and we thank you for your service.
you got to watch the video. When I was watching it, I swear, the nurse would pinch your arm and we put the alcohol. When I saw the needle looked about this long. So then poke me in. I swear, The thing went
And
in
he,
one side of the arm and came out the other. I said, what the heck? The bugger, he's long. Yep. And the thing, well, it looks uncomfortable, but sweetheart, I am proud of you. Uncle is proud of you. You took the vaccine. That warm flush feeling you had is, I told you, that's my friend ET. ET phone home. That's what you was feeling. He was feeling something special.
yeah, she hasn't gotten it yet, but if you guys can see the
Yep.
video, can you see it, Charlie? I gotta watch out the light. That's why it's a problem.
Well, it's kind of sideways, yeah, but
Yeah,
yeah,
because I cannot, because it. Oh, no, no, there we go. There we go.
yeah,
Yeah, you see right there, Charlie. If I was her, I would be passing out already. I,
yeah,
I would be passing out.
yeah. You see when they're gonna poke them.
Oh my lord! Look how. Oh my god! Look how long that needle.
Yeah,
Oh, no, how quick!
no,
How quick!
but you notice took 2 seconds for pull them out because when you're pulling one needle that's about 6 inches long, take about 2 seconds, brother.
Awesome. Look at that. Melissa Bolton, we love you, girl. Awesome, awesome, awesome.
Yeah,
Egg Nabbit. That's again, she's one of so many frontline workers
yeah.
that damn. Sorry, I had to change my. All right.
So it was she did the she had written early in the morning. She goes, Uncle, I said, sweetheart, you know what? Thousands of people have taken it already, and they only had two recorded cases. Well, today they had another recorded case in Alaska, and luckily the frontline worker is a nurse. She started a severe allergic reaction, and she was at work at the hospital, and she ran to the ER, and they gave her an epinephrine with an EpiPen. They jabbed her, and but that's and Dr. Fauci did warn that if you are susceptible to severe allergic reactions, you either not take the vaccine, or if you're going to take the vaccine, make sure you have the necessary um, mitigating properties such as your EpiPen with you, so you can um, intervene quickly. Okay. So again, if you're one of those that's I get reactions myself, but I'm gonna take it because I trust my private physician. He's read up on it. He's looked at all the stuff, and the benefit right now, the way it looks, and the way he explained to me is the benefit will definitely outweigh the dangers. And so I said, okay. So when it's available, and who knows? I mean, we got Johnson and Johnson. By the time we're ready, I might not get the Pfizer. You might not get the Moderna. You might not even get the AstraZeneca. You might end up with Johnson and Johnson that's being developed, and that has really good, promising signs. But it's going. It has to go through its trial phase and all that. But that's something too. But the way it's rolling out now, and from what I understand, I guess the plane was delayed today. So the rollout of the vaccines on Oahu was a little later than anticipated, but they got it anyway. And there was a lot of press coverage on it. But if you folks had the opportunity to watch it on national news, you had the U.S. Marshals escorting tractor trailers full of these vaccines from the airport after it was delivered by UPS, or because I believe UPS takes from the midway of the United States to the East Coast, and FedEx takes from midway to the West Coast. And so they showed the UPS being escorted by U.S. Marshals. That's how serious this thing is, gang. Okay, so this is no fluke. This is the real deal, and they're gonna make sure that everyone involved in fighting this virus wants to get a little breathing room and stop it when they can. And it's making it hard to stop it. A lot of people, and I understand, they're just burnt out, so they get complacent. But if you have two people infected, and you get two more people joining that group, or say three more people joining a group, it's like my hand. If you're like this, you're gonna get infected, right? But if you spread your fingers far, far apart and you stay far away, the chances of mental tilapia sending the virus over the horizon to somebody else who would never get them yet, it's hard. But you see, people are just burnt out, so they're gonna get together. They're not gonna wear their masks. They're gonna do everything they're not supposed to, and that's why they said, you know what? We give up. Just get the vaccine so we can get one breathing room. We can stop for a short period of time and get some other plans in effect. Because unless everybody buys into separating social distance, you cannot fight this thing. This thing will not crawl up your leg and then bite you in the okole and get you sick. You got to be up close to somebody who'll get the damn thing. But everybody says, you know what? I know them real well. He not sick. Guess what happened? Get tagged. Then what you gonna do? Too late.
Yeah. Just remember, guys, check with your private doctor, your personal doctor. I know everybody's, oh, what should we take? Your doctor knows you best.
Yep.
They'll know, and let them advise you, and that ultimately will be up to you what you want to do. Kirk is asking, what is the process now to check anyone on travel quarantine? The process is no different. I mean, the names will come in. The police and the National Guard will get a list, a daily list of people on quarantine, and they'll make their checks. That won't change. The only thing is changing is the fact that it's going to be 10 days instead of 14. So that, I hope I answered your question. I hope I read that right. But yeah, there's no, the only difference right now is from 14 days to 10. Um, I hope I answered that. All right. So check with your doctors when it becomes available. It's going to be a while for the general public with enough doses. Remember, there's very limited doses. It's going to go out to all the frontline workers like Melissa and others that are working directly with the COVID patients or in the high care unit. Oh, Kirk is saying 5 days. No one came to my house yet. Yeah. Send me give me your address, Kirk. I'll make sure they're there tomorrow morning at 5:30 a.m. Yeah.
You
No,
know,
they have there's a lot of people on quarantine, man. There's a lot of people on quarantine, and
Kurt, best just wait out your time because knowing Mel, he gonna tell them and guarantee they will come your house 4 times a day until you're 14 pounds. And then you're gonna be saying, damn, I shouldn't have said anything.
well, you got to remember, there's a lot of them that are watching right now, and they're gonna say, "Oh, pull up Kirk's name tomorrow. We're going there early. We're going there late. We're going there. Anyway, they might be there tonight. Hey, who knows? They might be on their way."
And not
All
the
right.
kind that not the guy you gonna come out of the shower and the go get a guy by his window. Kurt, Kurt, he's a National Guard. Open up, Kurt.
Hey, folks, it's after 8. We thank you guys for staying with us. Hey, don't forget, if you guys want to be entered in the drawing for Kiala's gifts, please send me your name in a messenger. I will get it on the list tomorrow night. And we'll randomize it tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. Again, Charlie is on a laughing roll. He's laughing, and so is Kirk. So tomorrow night, 7 o'clock, we'll randomize. Friday, we have, again, Feel Good Friday. We'll have Deja Vu and Mark's Place on. And we appreciate you guys so much. Charles, any closing comments, my friend?
Yep. I got one thing to say. Kirk's wife going to ask him, honey, how come we got Humvee park in our garage? And his response gonna be like on Lolo, I told Mel, now look, they hear every day now. I hope you folks had fun with us tonight. I'm sorry. I get the giggles because sometimes when I'm mad, I'm happy. And sometimes when I'm happy, I'm happy. So I'm like an asymptomatic giggler. You don't know when I'm mad or when I'm happy. So just take me as I am. I'm happy. I love you all.
Well, we'll make sure Kirk gets checked on tomorrow. Marlene just says, for my information, Kirk is not a morning person. Oh, well. We're going to find out. We're going to find out. Hey, people, I hope you enjoyed the show. Again, last night, Dr. Jerome Kim, if you did not if you did not see it, please. It's you know, just fast forward all the way because you can see me and Charlie, then you can see only Charlie, then you can see me and Charlie, then you can see only Charlie because my internet was causing problems. But from 7 o'clock on, from that 7 o'clock point, or actually it was 4 o'clock. Dr. Kib, it's an hour long, but he explains it all, and everybody needs to see that.
Layman's term.
I
Layman's
sent it.
term. Yep.
I sent it to the news media. Um, this guy has no dog in the fight. This guy, he has no dog in the fight. He's not a politician. There is absolutely no political discussion. It's strictly science, strictly medical, and I think you guys would appreciate it. So YouTube, Mel Raposo, check it out. Don't forget subscribe and click the bell icon so you get notified every time we put the new video up. All right, guys. Tonight, Tyson Moises. Kermit did say it today. Okay. All right. Anyway, Kermit, I'm not going to say who that is, Tyson. Anybody that knows Tyson know exactly who he's talking about. All right, we'll see you guys tomorrow night, guys. Stay safe. God bless. We love you guys. Aloha.
Aloha.